This video is for the districts and community colleges which will be completing the Perkins Secondary and the Perkins Postsecondary applications. Your application will be submitted online and there will be no paper application filled out or submitted. After reviewing the other training videos on how to navigate within EGMS, open your Perkins application and make sure you have changed the status to Application Started. The information that's on the pages in the online application is almost completely the same as that which you have filled out in the past on Perkins applications. Because we have divided the grant into secondary grant and post-secondary grant pages, only the pages that are applicable to the secondary grant will appear for that grant, and only the pages that are applicable to the post-secondary grant will appear for them. The very first thing that you must do after you've opened your application is go to the Perkins Consortia Intent to Participate page. Since the Perkins application can have consortium, it's extremely important that we know ahead of time which districts are going to be consortium members and which districts are going to be lead agents. This is so that we can automatically transfer the funds from the member organizations to the fiscal agent, and also to make sure that only the pages that are appropriate for the member organizations appear. The fiscal agent will be completing all of the pages on behalf of its consortium members. The page is very simple. You must select one of the three radio buttons. My district or college is not participating in a consortia. My district college is the lead for a consortium and will act as the fiscal agent for the members. Or my district college is a member of a consortium but is not the lead. If you select item 3, you must fill out the name of the lead organization or your fiscal agent for your consortia. This page must be completed before you do the other pages of the application. We will be sending out email reminders if this page hasn't been completed. Once you've completed that page and we've run the consortia file, districts that are members of a consortia will see the number of pages greatly reduced. The only thing that consortium members will be required to do is check the assurances and your affirmative action statement. Notice that once the consortia files have been transferred, on the allocations page, you will see a negative number and indicate where the allocation has gone. And notice that your total allocation is now 0. Consortium members will not be required to fill out the pages of the application or the budget. Fiscal agents, on the other hand, will see on their allocations page a transfer in of the money from the member consortium, and it will show which consortium members they have and how much money was transferred from each one of those. They will have all of the pages which they will then complete on behalf of their member organizations. We will now go through the pages that are specific to Perkins. The Program Instruction and Guidance page has links to reference resources and information that you find helpful in completing your application. The Program Details page will differ slightly for the secondary and post-secondary applications. The secondary program will have the checkbox for indicating whether your district has a college career Pathways program with a Connecticut community college. If it does, you must select the box and enter the information for the community college. If you do not have a program, then leave that box unselected. Next, you will be required to select at least 3 of the career clusters. There is a validation in effect that if at least 3 are not selected, you will get an error on your application and you won't be able to submit it until it's corrected. The rest of the boxes are just rich text boxes, all of which are required. Notice that there's an asterisk there by any item on a page that is required. The middle school program is specific to this Perkins Secondary application. You won't see this page in the post-secondary grant application, and you need only complete it if you are indeed using Perkins grant money for the middle grades. In order to fill out this page, you must select the box indicating that you will have the program, and that will enable the fields for you to put the information in. Notice that depending on the view in your specific browser, you may need to scroll over to see all of the fields within a row. Again, this is one of those grids where if you have more than one line of information, you can click on Add Row to add another row. If you clicked on that row accidentally, you can delete it. The CTE Advisory Board, again, is composed of 3 grids, each with add row functionality and a text box that must be completed. Some districts may have more than one advisory board, so you will need to indicate in that instance the name of each board. If you have only one, you can easily copy with Control C and Control V so that you don't have to type in every single one. Notice that once you have a row enabled, you must fill out this information, and again you'll want to scroll over. The course information is a rather long row, so make sure that you scroll all the way over and fill out all fields that are within a row, as will the Career and Technical Student Organization. On this page, you'll notice that there is a function for uploading a document. If you have a commitment for a new CTSO, this is only required if you're going to have a CTSO. You can upload it here. We also have a related documents page, which we'll see in just a moment. You can upload it there as well. Again, this page is a bit different for the secondary than it is for the post-secondary. In both applications, you must review all of the information and click on the box here indicating that you have read the guidance and agree to adhere to the included requirements. You'll enter budget details in the EGMS application as you have in the past. Each object code will have its own individual page for entry of details for that particular object code. When going to the page and you're going to enter budget details, make sure that you check the box at the top of the grid. This will enable the fields for the budget details. To the far right will be a total for the individual budget detail row, and at the very top of the page will be a total of all of the details for that object code. Later you will enter this number into a general budget that summarizes all of the object codes. For object codes 111A and 111B, the system will automatically calculate this total. You will enter an hourly rate and then enter the total hours. If it's a stipend, you will enter the stipend in this field and enter 1 for the hours. Notice that there are limits on the number of characters, which include spaces. And the examples that will be shown in these pages gives you an idea of the type of information that is needed. Again, 111B will automatically calculate these totals. If you have a stipend, you put it here and enter 1 for the number of hours. For other codes that require calculations, you will often see a compensation formula field. In this field, you will need to enter the details of the formula or costs that you used to come up with the total. Again, these totals will have to be entered by you, and the formula that you used or the the details that you use to create that total will be entered here. Each page will have fields that are applicable to that particular field. So as you see here, the information that will be needed in the budget cell will be in the column headings. Make sure you enter all of the information that is required. When entering information in the total, make sure that you use whole dollar amounts. This may require rounding up or rounding down in order to get a whole dollar amount, and you may have to do some adjustments in your budget just to make sure everything balanced. But in these calculations, make sure they are in whole dollar amounts. The Code 917 will be available for the Perkins Secondary grant. However, it will not be available for the Perkins Postsecondary grant since indirect costs are not allowed on that. This field does not have a checkbox, but these fields are not required. However, if you are one of the grantees that have received rate approval, put your rate in here and the calculation formula and put the information here. If you're not approved for an indirect cost, leave these fields blank. Once you have completed all of your individual object code fields, you will be required to take the total for that page and put it in the grant budget. To do that, click on Modify, then Add Budget Detail, leave the quantity at 1, and enter the total for the page. It's not necessary to enter anything in the narrative descriptions for the Perkins grants because all of those details have been entered in the object code pages. When you get through with the budget for your Perkins, the remaining should be 0. If it's not, you'll need to go back to your object code pages and make adjustments so that you use the Perkins application to the exact dollar. You will always see a total for the pages that you've entered, what your allocation is, and the amount that's remaining. The remaining pages of the Perkins application are fairly straightforward. With the secondary grant, there are 2 assurance pages, which will need you to check the checkbox indicating that you comply with the assurance. There's also a link on this secondary grant assurance page which has information about the self-assessment. The related documents page has the same information that we saw earlier. You can upload your commitment for a new CTSO. Notice that this is an optional document, which means that it only needs to be uploaded if in fact that you're developing a new CTSO. If there's any other documentation that you feel like you need to include with the application, you can use this other Perkins documentation and upload it here. Please refer to the training videos on how to upload documentation. As with all other grants, you will need to look at your validation messages, which will indicate by a red error message anything that needs to be resolved before you can submit your application. Also, you can print from this page. You can print the whole application, or you can check this box to select specific pages to print. When you print, if the print job comes up within 30 seconds, it will immediately show on your screen. If not, if it takes longer than that 30 seconds, you will need to go to the CSDE resources and the print job will be located there at the top of the page. This concludes the training video that's specific to the Perkins pages. If you have any questions, use the Request Help button to call this number during business hours or to submit a help desk ticket. Thank you.